The United States brokered Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal in Egypt in October 2025 marked a critical, yet fragile, pause to the nearly two-year war sparked by the October 7, 2023 attack. The agreement, based on President Donald Trump's multi-phase peace plan for Gaza, was primarily focused on ending the fighting, releasing hostages, and initiating a path toward the post-conflict future of the devastated territory. Summary and analysis of the ceasefire. The deal's initial phase, which took effect in October 2025, focused on several immediate, concrete steps: ceasefire and hostage prisoner exchange, an immediate cessation of hostilities and the exchange of the remaining living Israeli hostages held by Hamas, approximately 20, and the remains of deceased hostages, for a large number of Palestinian prisoners and detainees held by Israel, around 2,000, including those serving life sentences. Humanitarian surge and IDF pullback, a significant increase in humanitarian aid, e.g. 600 trucks daily into Gaza, including fuel, and a partial, phased withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza's main cities to agreed-upon lines. The deal also allowed for the return of displaced Palestinians to the northern part of the Strip. Analysis suggests the deal is a victory for humanitarian action and a critical first step, but it only addresses the easiest part of the conflict. The fragility stems from its intentional vagueness on the most contentious long-term issues: the disarmament of Hamas, the post-war governance of Gaza, the timing of a full Israeli withdrawal, and the ultimate political horizon for Palestinians, which Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu continues to oppose. The deal temporarily ends the immediate bloodshed, but sets the stage for high-stakes, indirect negotiations on a final framework. Key reasons and consequences. Reasons for the deal. Both Israel and Hamas faced overwhelming domestic and international pressure, leading to a calculated decision to accept the initial phase. Israeli calculations. Hostage pressure. Intense domestic pressure from the hostages' families and the Israeli public to secure the return of the remaining captives. International isolation. Growing international condemnation and pressure, including from the US, forced Netanyahu to accept a diplomatic solution. Coalition risk. Netanyahu likely calculated he could survive far-right opposition by framing the deal as a tactical pause and a way to retrieve hostages. Hamas calculations. Military decimation. Facing significant military pressure and devastation in Gaza, the group's leadership was convinced by regional mediators that they had reached an endgame for this phase of the conflict. Hostage leverage. The hostages were becoming a liability, and agreeing to the exchange provided Hamas with a massive release of high-value Palestinian prisoners and an elevated diplomatic status as a de facto signatory to an international accord. Regional pressure. Strong, coordinated pressure from key mediators like Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey pushed Hamas toward a compromise. Immediate consequences. Alleviation of crisis. The most immediate and tangible consequence is the surge of aid and the return of some displaced Gazans, offering temporary relief from the catastrophic humanitarian crisis and famine conditions. Hostage returns. The release of all remaining living Israeli hostages was a moment of national relief for Israel. Political reshaping. The deal cements President Trump's reputation as a key Middle East broker and is seen as laying the groundwork to expand the Abraham Accords, potentially leading to Israel-Saudi Arabia normalization, contingent on a resolution to the Palestinian issue. Elevation of Hamas. Despite being militarily degraded, Hamas's participation in a US-brokered international agreement has been interpreted by some as cementing its existence and leadership role. Predictions and proposed solutions. Predictions for the future. The long-term success of the ceasefire is highly precarious due to the chasm between the parties on core issues. High risk of collapse. The truce is tenuous. Negotiations on the next phases, particularly the demilitarization of Hamas and the nature of post-war governance, are extremely likely to break down. Israel maintains the option to resume military operations if its demands are not met. Gaza governance challenge. The plan envisions an interim technocratic government run by apolitical Palestinians and an International Stabilization Force, ISF, for security. However, Israel opposes a role for the Palestinian Authority, PA, without a sweeping reform program, and Hamas rejects disarmament without a clear path to a sovereign state. A new security force requires troops from other nations, which is a major logistical and political hurdle. Reconstruction hurdle. The estimated $53 billion cost of reconstruction is daunting. Wealthy Arab states have conditioned their massive financial commitment on tangible assurances of a pathway to Palestinian statehood and a guarantee against the resumption of conflict, which Israel's current government opposes. Shifted focus. If the Gaza truce holds, attention may shift to other flashpoints, as critics predict the conflict will merely shift arenas, particularly to the already unstable West Bank. Necessary solutions for stability. Achieving durable stability will require sustained international engagement and painful compromises from both sides. Firm international guarantees. Mediators, US, Qatar, Turkey, must provide strong written international guarantees to Hamas that Israel will not resume the war after the hostages are released, and to Israel that the demilitarization of Gaza will proceed. Technocratic governance and security. Expedite the formation of a technocratic administrative body in Gaza with immediate, robust support from the reformed PA and regional actors. A swift and well-mandated Arab-led stabilization force is the best alternative to a long-term Israeli occupation. Conditioned reconstruction. International reconstruction funds must be tied to political and security benchmarks, like verifiable progress toward demilitarization and genuine PA reform, to create incentives for compliance. Political horizon. The US and regional partners must forcefully push the next phase of the Trump plan, which includes a credible pathway to Palestinian self-determination and statehood, however conditional. Without a political horizon, the cycle of conflict is almost certain to resume.